Welcome back once again. Real people, real life, and joining us once again. I'm so thrilled. Our next governor, please,
Yes.
please. All right, Keen Umber. And this is going to be a big one, okay? We kind of talked about the flat tax, obviously, and the Common Core and education. I really want you to take some time and get into healthcare, please. And then I'm going to let each one of you, I'm going to pass this around.
Okay.
If you guys could put your initials by 2 subjects that you guys want to ask a question of while you're explaining.
Sure.
How are we going to mess with this healthcare?
All right, we spend $3 billion a year on CanCare. Okay,
Right.
divided by 3 companies. Is it working? No. Ask any doctor that there's fewer and fewer doctors taking it.
Right.
What we have to do is separate health care from health insurance.
Thank you.
Give you an example. You don't buy auto insurance and have your auto insurance pay for gas, oil, and tires. No, that would be crazy, right?
Right.
So, but in the healthcare model, every time you go to the doctor, it's run through the insurance company, and they're going to either pay or not pay, cram down, pay a deductible, all this. Our plan is, my Lieutenant Governor, my son, Dr. Josh Umber, is running a clinic here in Wichita called Atlas MD. It's called Direct Primary Care. It's a concierge.
I love those guys.
$50 a month for most adults, $10 for kids.
What?
There is no copay. There is no deductible. There's unlimited visits. You can show up 3 times a day if you want. When you walk out of the clinic, you walk out with your prescription in your hand at 5% over wholesale. 95% of all the prescriptions are between $9 and $4. Anybody can do this. Any doctor's office can do this. The doctors get paid once a month, whether the client comes or not, or whether he comes 10 times a month. And then you wrap a health insurance policy around it for all the unexpected stuff, the cancers, the broken arms, maternity, those kind of things. And because they're getting really great primary care at this level, and there's no billing, there's no coding, there's no rejection of any claim, there is no deductible or copays. People go to the doctor whenever they get sick.
Right.
And your child, every child can, every parent can afford $10 a month for unlimited visits.
Is this available now?
Right now. Right now.
Can you tell us how we can obtain that information?
Well, you go to Atlas MD. It's over there on where the
13th Street. It's between Webb and Greenwich.
Right. It's Wink Hartman Oil Building over there is where his office is on the 2nd floor. I think they got about 40 doctors doing this now. And like
I knew
said,
they were expanding. 'Cause
Right.
The need was,
And the idea of it is when we can take a CanCare model, let's just say for easy math, that there's 400,000 people in CanCare, and let's just say they were all adults. Well, we know most of them are children, but let's say all adults. $50 a month times 12 is $276 million. We could provide every person on CanCare a direct primary care. It would save about $1 billion, which then we could use that $1 billion to expand coverage to people who don't have coverage now and still be spending less.
Exactly.
But we got to get rid of these 3 insurance companies, these 3 for-profit insurance companies, because they're making profit, and they drag their profit off the top.
Right.
Collectively, those 3 companies lost $110 million.
Really?
Yes, and then they asked the legislature for a $40 to $60 million bonus because you love this. They only lost $110 million.
Only.
But
I lose about $800 a month paying for premiums for health insurance, which I don't use.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But if I don't have it, I'm going to get penalized 1% of all of my wages.
And then when you go to the doctor, then you're looking at a copay, deductible, and back and forth. No, a doctor's office is a business. He needs constant cash flow, sustainable cash flow, because he's got bills too. This provides him that. And like I said, every doctor would want to take CanCare patients with beginning of the month. They hit the enter button on the computer, and however many clients he has, that amount of money hits his bank account. Then he can pay for all the nurses and doctors, and he doesn't need all the coding people. And like I get, we separate health care from health insurance.
I love it.
That's the message.
You've always, that's the other thing, is you've always got, sometimes it's just the simplest solutions that you have done a lot of homework on, that nobody ever seems to want to discuss is the solutions. And you have got the solutions. We just need to get people to understand this.
That's right.
Dawn, you had a couple of questions, so I'm going to go ahead and let you start.
Well, let me just get right to the heart of the matter. People ask me, can you win? I mean, by throwing away my vote or what?
Absolutely. The argument is I'm the Ross Perot of the gubernatorial election in Kansas.
Wow. Right.
The fact of the matter is, if you go back 12 elections in Kansas, 7 out of the last 12 elections, this Republican state put a Democrat in the governor's mansion. Docking twice, Carlin twice, Finney once, Sebelius twice. So what was their excuse then?
I know.
They did not earn the votes of the people.
Yes.
Okay, and in this case, can I win? Yes, because people now, it's a perfect political storm.
It is.
really is.
It really
People are
is.
so tired of the status quo. They've elected Republicans, they've elected Democrats. They get the
Exactly.
same thing, just a different guy holding the whip.
That's exactly
Exactly.
right.
Feels the same on our backs.
Yes.
And in this is the year. People are voting their heart, they're voting their conscience, they're voting for a vision. Don't tell KTCH that because
Yeah.
they don't want everybody to know what the new vision, the libertarian vision is for Kansas. We have the only plan that actually works. We break the paradigm of government. We just keep throwing money at a problem and keep taxing people more and more and keep allowing business exemptions so they don't have to pay it.
Right.
But we're coming up to the point where you can't take any more money out of our paychecks.
Right. Exactly.
And
Exactly.
so can I win? Absolutely. 279,000 votes equals 34%. That's the number
Right
we're
on.
going for.
That's what we're going to go for.
That's
as
why
a
it's
minimum.
important for everybody
many?
to go out and vote.
279,000.
How many
If-
people are in Wichita, Kansas?
Well,
About 4.
About 400,000.
yeah, if everybody in Wichita voted for me, Wichita could
Put
Hey, I
you
would like to
on
put a shout out to all of my friends in Lawrence. Vote Keen.
That's right.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Because I love those folks. And
Another
my friends in Wichita, oh my gosh, all my friends in Wichita,
Yes.
please. I had a client the other day, and they've been in business for her and her partner for several years, and she is, a staunch Republican, and she goes, I'm voting for that Umber.
That's right.
And I went, right on. I was so happy. I was dancing. And then I had another friend who, again, I can get along with just about anybody.
Right,
I don't have a problem with that. And I don't have a problem working together to get solutions. I had another friend of mine who is just as hardcore Democrat as she was hardcore Republican. And he did the same thing. And I was like, oh, I'm loving today. Thank
Yeah,
you.
yes.
Everywhere I went, it was like, I'm going to vote for that guy. I'm like, I love this.
No disrespect to Mr. Brownback or Mr. Davis, but either vote for either one of those individuals keeps the system we have going.
It does.
When we gave
It's
our
a true
tax
story.
plan, Brownback was stay the course.
I know.
Hope the economy goes boom before we go bust. Hope being a central part of his strategy. Mr. Davis was freeze what we're doing now and form a committee to study it. Okay, I'm sorry, but both of those things can require the wage earner to continue paying these taxes when the business owners like myself are paying nothing, zero, zip. We don't bear one little burden.
Your first order of business is to get that change.
Absolutely.
Nothing else happens.
was
That
your
makes
next
me so
one?
happy.
Well, something that's near and dear, I think, to a lot of us here, and that's medical marijuana. Where do you
Yes.
stand?
Yes.
Okay, criminal defense attorney, I'm not for recreational use at this point in time because it's a killer. The state's not ready for it. But I do support Senate Bill 9. Senate Bill 9
Yep.
is our medical use marijuana bill. There's a lot of moving parts. And I want a medical use marijuana bill in Kansas because nobody should get between me and my doctor.
I
now,
agree.
we know that it's still on Schedule 1 on the federal system, and that's got to get changed. And I hope it does in the very near future.
It's classified higher than cocaine.
It's
It's crazy.
And I want a medical use marijuana where it says I can grow it in my house. I can't make
Thank
oxycodone in my
you.
kitchen, but if I can grow that plant in my house, I don't need to have a third party making money off me.
Right.
There you
And
go.
I will be the first
That's awesome.
medical cannabis store in Wichita, Kansas. I'm ready to go.
You're ready to go.
I am ready to go. And I agree with you. I think that is the smart way to go is to start with a medical cannabis opportunity first,
Absolutely.
where you can grow it at home, okay, without fear of being,
Door kicked in.
door
kids
kicked
taken.
in, and
right.
Jackbooted
because
thugs.
that's what saved my life.
Right.
I did survive breast cancer thanks
right.
to Rick Simpson Oil Phoenix Tears. So I know I'm not the only one.
Absolutely.
And I've got a girlfriend who lives in Texas, and although they don't have legalized cannabis there at all, okay, her pediatrician, who is a neurologist, she has a child with severe seizures, and that's the little boy that we sent the bicycle to.
Right.
The special little boy that we all sent the bicycle to, and he loves his bicycle, you guys.
Oh, good.
But he had a really bad setback this week, horrible setback. And his pediatrician is the first one in the state of Kansas to do the medical trial on medical cannabis for epilepsy, and she is so happy. Oh, I'm so happy for her. Okay, do we have enough time? I think we do. Joey, why don't you get into your couple of questions?
Keen, how do you define yourself politically?
I call myself a conservative libertarian. Conservative means to protect the Constitution. And, when we get into talking about conservatives, to be a true conservative, you have to embrace all of the Constitution, and that's a big thorn bush. There's a lot of stickers on that. A lot of people are conservatives until we got to use the First Amendment to protect the free speech rights of somebody like Fred Phelps. Then they want to become cafeteria conservatives where they pick and choose. A lot of people are conservative until people like me, defense counsels, use the Fourth Amendment to get a person charged with possession of drugs off because the police pulled him over without reasonable suspicion of probable cause or a warrant to search his vehicle, And then when we get down to the 14th Amendment, we all lose our minds because the United States Supreme Court has ruled that marriage is a fundamental right for same-sex and opposite-sex alike. And so we got the Utah decision now. Supreme Court refused to hear the appeal on it, so now that's the law in the 10th Circuit. Kansas is in the 10th Circuit. So, it's important that you don't get to pick and choose what parts of the Constitution you like and you don't like. Right. And a cafeteria conservative wants to pick out those parts of the Constitution that are uncomfortable,
right, exactly,
and instill certain religious texts to cover the gap.
You're right.
If you don't like the 14th Amendment, there's a process to go to get it repealed. Exactly. If you're not willing to do that, then, and that's where I really differ on Mr. Brownback and Mr. Davis on, we have to follow the law. The Constitution determines, we got the executive, the legislative, and the judicial branch. The judicial branch determines what laws are constitutional. The 14th Amendment puts this bar on all states that says if you pass the law, then that law has to be equally applied to everyone all the time. Okay, that's a bugger. And when Kansas passed their amendment, it is unconstitutional because it doesn't apply to everybody equally all the time. It's like separate but equal.
Right.
Brown versus Board of Education.
Right.
All those southern states passed those laws saying separate but equal. It was good, and it was done by will of the people. But the 14th Amendment came in Brown and said, listen, you cannot do that because it doesn't apply to everybody. You can't have separate but equal as a constitutionally debunked theory now. And any laws based upon that is equally debunked. So this is the same way. And you know what we're going to find out? We're going to have gay marriages in Kansas and nothing.
I know.
No result. We're not even going to know it.
Yeah. I am just
what's to be afraid of?
I have no idea.
If Adam and Steve want to get married, I don't care.
Yeah.
I don't care if they want to walk down the street holding hands.
It
doesn't bother me.
That's one of the things I've always said too, and I have to, again, boy, I agree with you. Amazing that I love you so much. Okay. Yeah, I'm with you on that. I'm a conservative, but I'm a liberal too.
Right.
Okay. And another one of my clients just the other day said the same thing. I know we got to take a break, but we'll be right back. Real people, real life.
Real People, Real Life is brought to you by these fine sponsors.
Hammond Liquor, home of the coldest beer in town and the lowest prices store-wide. For all your special events, your friends at Hammond Liquor have what you need, from beer, wines, spirits, champagne, and more. Open till 8 p.m. every Sunday. Hammond Liquor, West Kellogg and Tyler Road. Hammond Liquor, home of the coldest beer in town and lowest prices store-wide, wants to remind you of very important savings days. Wine Day, Tuesdays get 20% off. Beer Day, Wednesdays get 10% off. Microbrews and imports. Open till 8 p.m. every Sunday. Hammond Liquor, West Kellogg and Tyler Road.
Knapp Weaponry is the home of Wichita's newest indoor temperature-controlled shooting range. Mention this ad for 2-for-1 pricing weekdays from noon to 4. Knapp Weaponry is an NRA Business Alliance member that offers NRA and state-certified instruction classes, training, and women's unarmed self-defense classes. We buy and sell new and used guns and offer gunsmith services. Knapp Weaponry offers a free range session with the purchase of a new gun. We also offer transfer services and an array of ammo. Knapp Weaponry, the West Side's best-kept secret.
Welcome back once again, Real People, Real Life, and again, still very honored, Mr. Keen Umber is with us, and we were kind of taking turns asking questions, and you got one, and what was your next one?
I do have one more. big hot topic going around right now everywhere is voter identification.
Right.
Where do you stand upon it? I mean,
I like the voter ID, that I got to show some ID to get in to vote, okay? Because anybody can walk in off the street. What I differ in Mr. Kobach's is that I have to show proof of citizenship. I think that's where he's gone off the reservation. And there are 22,000 voters. They call them incomplete, but it's not a anti-voter fraud law. It's it's a suppression law. There are 22,000, 12,000, I've been told, are libertarians. That's a huge number. And you're disenfranchising people because they can't provide a birth certificate because they were born in a state other than Kansas.
Right.
That, I think, we're waiting on a 10th Circuit Court decision coming down. Hopefully it'll get here before the election. But those people should be allowed to vote because they can vote in the federal elections because they've signed the federal form saying it's in the little affidavit at the bottom of the form, that they are American citizens. And so the federal government decides citizenship, Kansas decides residency. That's the difference.
That's the difference.
I mean,
yeah.
I agree with you on that. I mean, I think it's absolutely important to show up when you're going to vote that day with your identification in hand. I mean, because if I want to, I can go and I can vote as Don Landis if I want to. All I have to know is his name and his address and sign his name on the line. He shows up 20 minutes after I leave. You've already voted, Mr. Landis. I'm sorry.
Right.
And you can go to 10 different polling places if there wasn't some kind of ID. So that makes sense.
And to me, I mean, whether it's a state-issued driver's license and or other state-issued, if you can't apply for the regular driver's license, but what about college
IDs?
Well, yeah, I mean, that should be, one thing about college ID is you don't know if that person attending that college is a resident of Kansas, not a resident of Kansas. Okay. We have a lot of out-of-state people. Right. We got people from foreign countries. So just a college ID, unless they can make a dual-purpose one that says Kansas resident or resident of some other state, well, then you ought to be able to use it as long as it's got a Kansas resident.
I agree. I had somebody ask me about that. That's why I was kind of curious. I don't know why that wouldn't be a problem in stating Kansas resident and or non-Kansas resident. I don't think that's a big deal. Okay. Falsa, you got a couple of questions real quick?
I did. One of them have already been addressed. There's a lot of really sticky topics nobody really wants to address. One of them would be same-sex marriages. The other would be the abortion laws. What's your take on those?
We go back to the Constitution. Right now, Roe versus Wade's the law of the land.
Yes.
Like it or not, that's the law of the land. So we have to comply with that. Do I like killing kids? No. But do I like disregarding the Constitution? I don't like that either. And we passed all the abortion restrictions that are potentially will withhold a constitutional challenge.
Right.
So right now, until we have a case that overturns Roe versus Wade, which is not likely,
right.
that is the law.
The law of the land.
And so, do I like it? No, but we have to follow what the Constitution says, and if we don't like it, then those people that are anti-abortion have to go back and go through the process of repealing or adding a new constitutional amendment on the federal Constitution. And unless they're willing to do that, then they're...
I liked what Texas did on some of the limits that they put in place. I thought that they did a very, very good job.
I think they addressed the health issues, especially for Dr. Gosnell. His example, and there's a butcher in Houston also. So woman should be able to go to a clinic and have the same health standards observed as if she went to a doctor to get a tooth pulled.
Right.
That's not the case. Women die because of lack of proper care.
Absolutely.
That's unacceptable.
It needs to be a certified clinic. I mean, it can't be just
exactly some fly by night. Okay, you had another one, honey?
No, I didn't.
I want you.
Oh, civil
forfeiture.
I'm blind, you know that.
I know, right? I didn't bring my glasses.
What's your take on that?
I hate civil forfeiture.
Thank you.
We deal with it all the time in drug cases, and the typical drug case, I get my guy say he was driving a 2014 Ford that was paid off. It has to be paid off, and so I watch for it because my client doesn't get a forfeiture notice. He gets a state of Kansas versus a 2014 Ford pickup.
Right.
And then the Ford pickup doesn't file an answer. Can you imagine that? Right. So I always watch for it, and these civil forfeiture cases, I don't know of any of them that have gone to court. They always you negotiate that down. We'll give you $1,000 KHP, and then KHP gives us a truck. We give them $1,000. It's blood money.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
if we could ever get one to court, we would probably prove that it is unconstitutional.
Right.
And that's just of a vehicle. And then somebody has cash and they got a little weed on them, and so that must be drug proceeds. No, he just cashed his check. He
cashed his check and
It
bought a
cashes-
quarterback.
You know.
Sad experience. I know.
So it is completely.
A little bit.
And when the government takes your money like that, they ought to provide you a state-paid attorney, and they
Right.
don't. That's a
Right.
civil matter.
You know, that's another interesting thing. Another one of my clients the other day was telling me that he got a phone call and there was somebody on his roof and trying to steal his sign. And so he got in his car and he rushed over there and it was a sheriff's officer showed up, threw him to the ground, put the gun to his head, and he was like, "I own that building. That guy's stealing my stuff." And he said, "That's a civil matter." And he says, "Well, here's my conceal and carry permit." This is before we had open carry. And he said, "When does it become a non-civil matter? Okay, when I shoot the guy?"
Yeah.
Well,
You would think
The-
it would
the
be
law
a civil matter
enforcement
as soon as he
officers-
reported that the man was stealing his stuff. Would it be criminal at that point?
it would be. It would.
That's
Theft
what
is a
I
crime.
thought.
You know,
Thank you.
It'd be like if he was inside your house burglarizing it. You know.
Yeah.
And so of course it was. And most law enforcement officers have about that much legal training, and that's a fallacy. And they always come up to you and say, "Well, if you don't obey my command, I'm going to charge you with obstruction of justice." Well, charge away, because when you get to court, they have to give a lawful command, and that command's got to be based on certain factors, and most of the time those factors aren't there. He hesitated 2.5 seconds, therefore he's in, in violation of the law.
Are you going to be able to leave your once you are in Topeka? Are you going to be able to leave your law office open? Will you have others that'll be taking care of that?
No, actually, I closed my law. I quit taking cases last January in anticipation I would be, in fact, win the nomination. And had my last case in March, and I got one little probate case that I just got to send out some letters. And because I'm all in, I'm a kamikaze
Nice.
pilot
I like
that's
to hear
past
You
the
are.
pure
All
threshold.
in.
You are.
Get it, man.
You are.
Get it.
It's exhausting. I sit here sometimes and I'm seeing the pictures of you and your son and your wife. She's such a go-getter. Oh my gosh.
She is.
And you guys are everywhere. And I know how exhausting that can be. Because, you may have to get up at 1 a.m. in order to be across the state, one side to the other side, and be here by 6, and then get done here and then be clear across the state and be there, So, it's just a go-go.
I tell you, Mrs. Umber, affectionately referred to Mrs. Umber, and she is the controlling in the hub. And I don't know when that girl sleeps, but
I don't think she does.
If you see her Facebooks 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, 4
Yeah.
o'clock, 5 o'clock, sometimes we pass in the hallway, and I said, "Are you up or just ending?" And there's days she's worked 22 hours a day.
I believe
You
it.
guys have
I've
a
seen
wonderful
it.
love story. It's an international.
I know.
love
This is
story.
so. Okay, go ahead. Go
I
ahead.
love a good love
Yeah,
story.
we grew up in born in Great Bend, but my dad took a job overseas, and he was in the oil field, and so we grew up in Angola and Nigeria and in Singapore, and I met Eileen in Singapore at Singapore American School.
Wow.
Her dad was vice president of 3M. They come from Minnesota. And it's my first girlfriend. Be careful of my first
Wow.
girlfriend. It just never ended. It just went on and on. It's like we grew up together. And then,
I love
at
it.
19, we got married. We had our kids, bang, bang, bang. All 4 now.
wow.
Our kids are grown and very successful in their own pursuits. But so it's just been a great love story. And, when you've been together that long, she knows right. When she said, "Are you gonna do this?" and I said, "Well," and she said, "You're not gonna do it, are you?" She knows. She can feel it. Even though I'm trying to play lawyer on her, but it doesn't ever work.
And I love the little notes. I get the biggest kick out of those. She'll write little notes, or you'll write little notes back. "Hi, honey, it's been a really long day." And they're just so gosh darn cute. And I'm like, this is just adorable. I love seeing that.
You guys must be best friends.
Yeah.
Well, we are, and we just got to keep it going. We've been running about 15 months now, and we just pass each other. I was gone from Tuesday to last Sunday, and then we got to spend last night together, and then of course we're off again.
You're
so,
off and running.
Off and gone.
off and gone.
Well, I just, I really need us to get the point across. one thing: if voting
Matters, yeah.
voting matters. Period.
You don't-
You know,
Okay,
and this is, if you don't vote, you don't matter.
That's right.
See, and that's why, you talked about voting for lesser two evils is still evil, but the fact of the matter is you need to vote for the vision you want Kansas to head in. We got two people who want to keep on the same track.
Yeah,
You
and
know,
that is not the vision.
There's 1.4 million wage earners that could totally take control of this state. It says, nope, we're not going to pay any more taxes if the businesses aren't paying. Kansas is our fair people. We don't mind paying taxes, but we do mind when the richest of us
Aren't
pay
paying
nothing.
Right.
And if you're in a payroll check, you pay it all and no plans on changing it. Well, I should say this. Brownback's got a plan on shaving it down, going from 4.9 to 4.8. It'll be still my heart, The federal taxes are
Still
going
my
up,
heart.
But,
Wow.
all these
An
incentive
in-depth
plans,
plan, I'm sure.
like the PEAK program, depends on the wage earner continuing to pay taxes so we
Right.
can continue to have that business owner retain 95% of it.
Yeah.
That's crazy,
That is crazy.
All laws have to apply equally to everyone all the time. That's the mantra. That's it right
That's
there.
it. That's the truth. That's
It's
how it
win-win.
is. Again, if you the thing I really appreciate too is the fact that you're very approachable, and the fact that you do. If it's not you, it's your son or it's your lovely wife, but one of you is always getting back.
Right.
And I just think that that's fabulous. We don't get that,
No,
and
we
we
don't.
have that now, and we have a great vision with you in office that could really change things big time. So
So we need to do is
Mr. Umber,
Please.
thank you very
changes.
much for being
Thank
here.
you.
Yes.
with us
Well,
today.
thank you
Really
very
Yeah,
much.
thank
This
you
has been
very much.
such
Thank
fun.
you.
And
So much.
I
Thank you
appreciate
very
you
much.
coming in.
all right, yes,
Really
thank
nice
you.
to
thank you.
I'm very pleased.
Vote Keen Umber. Real people, real life. See
2
you
weeks from today.
Yep. See you soon.
The views expressed in the preceding program do not necessarily represent the views of this station or its management.
Sal's Japanese Steakhouse, 6829 East Kellogg Drive. A Wichita tradition for awesome dining and always a great time. Enjoy our Monday to Thursday specials, including half-price chicken and shrimp dinners. Sal's is open 7 days a week. Come in, relax, and let us give you the treat of fine dining and good fun in a beautiful atmosphere. From our family to yours, Sal's Japanese Steakhouse, 6829 East Kellogg, Wichita, Kansas.
Credit King Auto Sales is getting better all the time. We're doing it better. We're doing it better all the time.
Credit King Auto Sales, the king of buy here, pay here. Bad credit, no problem. The King specializes in getting you in the ride you want no matter the credit score. Credit King doing it better all the time with the largest selection to choose from in all price ranges at one location. The King's Corner, 31st Street South and Broadway. Kansas' biggest buy here, pay here. GoCreditKing.com.
At Trailer Town, we're all about selection, service, and safety. Trailer Town Selection, hundreds to choose from, small to large, lightweight aluminum to heavy-duty steel, all types, new and used. Trailer Town Service, the best in the Midwest, from wiring to axle repair. Trailer Town Safety, yes, we do Department of Transportation inspections. Trailer Town, trusted, family-owned, 301 West 53rd Street North.
Hammond Liquor, home of the coldest beer in town and the lowest prices store-wide. For all your special events, your friends at Hammond Liquor have what you need, from beer, wines, spirits, champagne, and more. Open till 8 p.m. every Sunday. Hammond Liquor, West Kellogg and Tyler Road. Hammond Liquor, home of the coldest beer in town and lowest prices store-wide, wants to remind you of very important savings days. Wine Day, Tuesdays get 20% off. Beer Day, Wednesdays get 10% off. Microbrews and imports. Open till 8 p.m. every Sunday. Hammond Liquor, West Kellogg and Tyler Road.
At Economy Motors, we know that everything costs more these days. Gas costs more, utilities cost more, groceries cost more. But what's one thing that will not cost you more? Buying your next vehicle with us. Everything we have is priced $12,995 or under. Bad credit, no worries. No crazy gimmicks and no bait and switch. We keep it real. Economy Motors, home of Easy Pay. We've got your back.
Don't worry, please, don't worry, 'cause at Economy Motors, we got your back.
Knapp Weaponry is the home of Wichita's newest indoor temperature-controlled shooting range. Mention this ad for 2-for-1 pricing weekdays from noon to 4. Knapp Weaponry is an NRA Business Alliance member that offers NRA and state-certified instruction classes, training, and women's unarmed self-defense classes. We buy and sell new and used guns and offer gunsmith services. Knapp Weaponry offers a free range session with the purchase of a new gun. We also offer transfer services and an array of ammo. Knapp Weaponry, the West Side's best kept secret.